back, Stacy.
Oh, thank
It's been
you.
a little while since I've seen you. How are you?
I'm good.
Great.
Hmm.
What brings you in today? Anything specific?
Yeah, so I want to talk about social media use and like screen time in general, limiting it, lowering it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that for yourself, for your family members?
for me.
Okay.
Yeah, to benefit my family, but for me.
Okay. That sounds like something we can talk about. Um, what what's kind of motivating that? Are you feeling like you're um spending too much time on it, or do you feel like it's taking you away from your family more? I guess
Yeah.
what's
Um,
inspiring the change?
yes, I think it it's mostly for my family. As you know, I have two children.
Hmm.
And so it's mostly like for their sake, so I'm not like looking at a screen instead of them. Like, so that my attention isn't on a phone instead of on them.
Hmm.
And the social media piece is more like, I don't know, social media being kind of toxic, not good for me mentally,
Hmm.
and then having not really even conflicted, but feelings about Trump being president now and Mark Zuckerberg and not wanting to be involved in like the metaverse.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, so it's sounding like it's kind of twofold. You want to kind of be more present with your children, and as part of kind of what they see and maybe setting an example. And then it's also you're having this kind of like internal conflict with just kind of your values about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's accurate. Yeah.
What is have you tried before to cut down on it, like intentionally, or is it kind of just something that you've been thinking about? I guess have there been any attempts or
Yeah. Um, well, I got off of Instagram maybe it's maybe been 2 weeks, which I've done intermittently before, but 2 weeks ago I got off. Or maybe a week, I don't know exactly. And yes, I have tried to cut down on screen time before too. And one place where it's tricky is I feel like I use my phone for a lot of like practical things.
hmm
So I'll be like, oh, I'm going to put my phone away during this mealtime, like no phones at the table kind of thing. But then I'm like, oh, we're like talking about what's for lunch at school tomorrow or something. And I'm like, oh, let me check. Like,
Oh,
there's
right.
so many things on my phone that I'm like, oh, we really need milk. Put it on the grocery order.
Hmm. Yes, that makes sense. I think that's pretty common for
Yeah.
all of us these days with how much technology is in our life.
Yeah.
So, um, have you ever like tracked how much you have used your phone, or is it kind of like I'm just going to do these things and then you kind of get out of the practice of doing those things?
Yeah, I think it's mostly that. My phone tells me how much screen time I've used, but I haven't really used that to like track it. Yeah.
Um, so what does just like your average day look like? You can kind of go through your day, but maybe add in where you find yourself using
Yeah.
the screen, or maybe getting on social media when it like maybe burns some of your time.
Yeah.
Um, would you mind just telling me about a typical day?
Yeah. Um, I usually when I get up in the morning, I used to like check my email on my phone, maybe go on Instagram, um, and then get my kids ready for school, take them to school, come home. Then I'm like coming home, I gotta get ready for work. And I'm kind of fighting it at that time. Like, okay, don't be distracted. Like,
Right.
don't look online. Don't be on your phone. Just get ready for work. I come to work. I'm a therapist. So then in between clients, I'll like check my phone, but I want to like put it down more in those moments and not be like scrolling between sessions because it's not really like life giving, good for the brain. And then I go home. Well, I go pick up my kids, then I go home. And that's probably when it's the hardest to like not be on my phone or be distracted because it's like overwhelming with the kids and I'm overstimulated and I want to kind of like dissociate
Yeah.
on my phone.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a pretty common problem for a lot of
Yeah.
people. Um, so that sounds like a pretty full day. Um, what is it specifically, I guess, social media that you'd like to cut down on? Do you think that that's where like a lot of the time goes to, since
Yeah.
we are so we use our phones for so much?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research coming out. I don't know if you've read it, that just, I mean, it's really hard. Phones and like the apps are designed to kind of get
Mm-hmm.
you into it. So, um, don't be
Mm-hmm.
hard on yourself about like using
Yeah.
it necessarily, because it's designed to keep people scrolling and keep people looking at it.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point.
yeah, it's pretty tricky in that way. Are you interested? I've had some other clients that have had this very same problem. Are you interested in hearing anything that maybe they have
Yeah.
worked on,
Yeah,
or
for
used
sure.
that have maybe helped them? It's not necessarily saying you need to do those things, but just might get your kind of mind going on
Yeah.
just different approaches. Um, so I've had people really use that screen time tracker,
Okay.
and you can click into it, and there's kind of use by email, social media, this and that, and they've
Hmm.
really been conscious of that. That's something that you would have to go into
Okay.
and keep track of it. Maybe have like a maximum amount of hours per week. There's also ways that you can go into your phone and set time limits, and so that's like a
Oh.
maximum amount. Like, hey, I'll give myself 20 minutes
Yeah.
on like each app for the day,
Okay.
or maybe 10 minutes, whatever your goal is.
Yeah.
And then it just tells you that's
Oh, you've
that's
met
enough
your
for the
time.
day. Yeah.
Oh,
So you
cool.
can always get back into it, but it's just something that's kind of like a reminder. Hey, this is like a goal you set.
Yeah.
Um,
Make me more mindful of
mhm,
it.
mhm. And
Yeah.
it's kind of sounds like you've done some um putting your phone, like away at the dinner table, what
Mm-hmm.
you said, which that's a really that's a really great way to start. But I understand the difficulty. You could always try to institute, like between this time and this time.
Yeah, I
Not
like
gonna
that.
not gonna look at my phone at all. Maybe have just do a scratch paper like in the kitchen or
Yeah.
something that you can go to and write
Yeah.
down. So those
That's good. Pen and
those
paper.
yeah, those are things that um my some of my other clients have tried, and
Yeah.
it's helped. Not It's helped decrease their screen time and their social media use.
Huh.
um so
I
what do you
like
think about those
that.
ideas?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a really good idea. I think it'd be good to be able to jot stuff down
Hmm.
so I don't forget it when I think of things, but then also have like boundaries around when I use it and then to really stick with it.
Right.
Yeah.
um do you also do you have notifications on your phone?
I do. I've tried to turn them off for most
Okay.
things, but I should double check that and make sure that I'm not
I
getting.
was just thinking that my most recent client, that's what they, so um
Yeah, that's a good one though.
yeah. So it's you don't have to do any of those things. You can try one or two. You don't have to feel overwhelmed about taking all these things in at once. You can kind of
Mm.
maybe ease into it and don't put too much pressure on yourself, is what I would think.
Yeah, like
Um,
that.
what about, let's think about maybe some goals that you would like to maybe work on in this area.
Yeah.
Can you think of maybe three goals surrounding this?
Yeah. I think one goal would be staying off Instagram,
Mhm.
not signing back up, because that's like hard not to. And then another one would be putting my phone away for certain, like we just talked about, certain time periods and keeping it away. Um, the other goal, I think not looking at my phone before bed too. Yeah.
Those sound like really great, achievable goals. I mean,
Yeah.
sounds like they'll take some work, of course, but yeah, that sounds really great. What if you were to prioritize one of those goals just for now, so you don't feel so
Yeah.
overwhelmed
Yeah.
while you're starting off trying to make these changes?
I think I would prioritize the putting my phone away for specific time periods. Yeah,
That
I
sounds
like
really
that.
great. And are there any kind of like hangups you're feeling about using less social media? I guess is it more of a habit, or are there things that maybe like reasons you don't necessarily want to get completely off? Just
Oh
to
yeah. Yeah, I because I'm worried that I won't be able to like keep up with friends as well, or like I get, friends that send me like like funny
yeah,
videos or memes or whatever, like worrying about being not getting those anymore and being kind of not in the loop.
right. And
Yeah.
so you are using it a little like many people do for some connection.
Yeah, like
Um,
social
yeah,
connection.
which that sounds very positive. And so I totally understand that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of finding your own balance and um, just deciding what you feel like fits best with your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe just telling my friends that I'm not on there anymore, but they can still text me a video or text me, I don't know, in general, I guess.
That yeah, that sounds really great. You're coming up with some really good ideas.
Yeah.
Is there any other kind of thoughts you have about this cutting down on screen time or social media?
No, this has been super helpful, though.
All right.
I feel like I have some good takeaways that
Mm-hmm.
I can really implement right away.
Well, I look forward to kind of hearing how it goes
Yeah.
between now and our next session.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thanks so much, Stacey.
Yeah. Thank you.